decades at Michigan Wolverines football under the legendary Bo Schembechler. What were the biggest lessons you took from Bo about leadership and building a winning culture that you still use today?
I think the biggest thing Bo was about was the just the toughness of the game, the honesty of the coaches, the honesty of the players back in, just the trust between the players and the coaches. And, it's a tough game. And he knew it. And he pushed us um, to where, we didn't think we could go. And, coaching back then was a little bit different than it is now. And the kids nowadays are spoiled and the expectations with the parents are crazy. Like, this is what you're gonna do, and it's tough. We're trying, but there was a banner in our locker room that those who stay will be champions, and it was there for a reason. Because we had a lot of quitters. We had to quit from the ball program, like the program. They stay and stuff it through and push through the thing. So great. It, these days where it's not getting caught and
Hang on, Coach. We lost Damien. Let's try. Well, and we're kind of cutting in and out on the audio, so let's see what happens. Maybe it's on our end.
children to take care of.
Yeah.
He didn't pay his internet bill.
See, now you're coming in. Now you're coming in nice and clear. So, like that's like kind of that's a good distance from the mic. Like I think we're
Okay.
we're in a good spot right now.
All right. I'll stay right here for
All
you.
right, got you. Thank you, Coach.
No
We'll
problem.
probably take you from that question again, and
Okay.
we'll go from there. We'll cut it up, so it's no big deal.
Damien, what'd you have to do? Go take care of the kids, or
I just had a bad connection, but now it sounds fantastic.
did
All
you
right.
pay your bills this week, or what?
I gotta ask my wife about that one. I'm not totally on it. I gotta get with it. But how'd it go, man? Because I had to get off.
I think we're gonna have to ask the question again. And go from
All right,
there. Yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
we can cut it up. It's fine.
Okay, cool. So, Coach, you played and then coached for 2 decades at Michigan Wolverines football under the legendary Bo Schembechler. What were the biggest lessons you took from Bo about leaderships and building a winning culture that you still use today?
Um, like I said before, it's just life is tough. Nobody hands you anything, and whatever you get, you go and get yourself. And that was the way Bo was. It was tough. It was hard. We had a saying in our locker room: "Those who stay will be champions." And we had a lot of guys that quit. They couldn't take it. They weren't good enough. They weren't tough enough. Um, but the guys that stayed, we won. And instilled that in all of us. I think the other thing that I love about Bo is, Bo didn't care about statistics. He didn't care about all the hoopla and all the bullshit that goes outside of football. He just wanted to win. And to me, that was probably the biggest thing I learned about him was, look, you know, the the closeness of the team, winning is everything, um, and that's what we came to do. And, if you fall short, you fail, and then you recollect, and you go back again the next year, and you do it again. Um, nobody's going to hand you anything in this world. And yeah, I guess those are the biggest things that I learned from.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah,
So you
I
coach
mean,
some
our,
incredible.
our,
Yeah, go ahead.
our,
Go ahead.
our children don't hear it enough. I mean, to be honest with you, it's our society's gotten soft, but to me, yes, it's about winning. It's about going out and beating the other guy, and that's what he taught us and drilled into us, both as players, and then when I started coaching for him, I saw a different side of him. Because when I stepped into the coaching ranks with him, I saw the other side of him where he actually deeply, deeply, deeply cared about every player that we didn't know as players. Love for every guy to do the best, to make them the best player they could be. And I guess I'm very fortunate that I was able to see both sides of him. He pushed, he pushed me as a player, and then he taught me as a coach how to care for players, how to push them, but also care for them. And very unique human being.
How gratifying was that you got to see both sides? Because a lot of people don't get to see both sides.
Fortunately,
Yeah.
he gratifying. I don't know if you can measure that, but I've been touched by a lot of great head coaches that I've worked for, and he was the first one. I will always go back to what I've learned from him when I'm in situations with players, and I'm looking at a player, and eventually in my head, okay, what would Bo say? What would Tom Coughlin say? Because those two are probably two of the greatest coaches that I've been around.
Wow. So you've coached some incredible players at Michigan, including Charles Woodson. You've also spoken very highly of Luke Kuechly as well. What made those two players special from a football IQ standpoint, and how quickly did you realize they were different from everybody else?
Well, Charles, I got to know him when he was 14 or 15 years old. His head high school coach, Rex Vanderloff from Fremont Ross High School, he called me up, and I was in charge of running our football camp at Michigan. We'd have about 2,200 players every year for 1 week. And he called me up and said, Jim, he said, I got this freshman, he's a good player. I don't think he's ready for camp yet, but I want to bring him up so he gets a chance. Well, yeah, sure, bring him up, Rex. And on Wednesdays of camp, we would have what we called the smokehouse, which was we would invite all the top players at every position, and unbeknownst to them, we would run them in a 40-yard dash, and we would time them, and we would watch them, and we filmed it. And the defensive back came up. If you know anything about Charles, but Charles probably the greatest running back in the nation his senior year.
Oh,
No, I didn't know that.
But when he was a freshman, he came up and Rex asked me, said, "Hey Jim, can you run with the DBs?" And I'm like, Rex, I said, these are all guys going to be seniors, great players. He said, just let them run. And I'm like, all right, stick them in there, let them run. And the gun goes off, and 4.3 seconds later, Charles crosses the finish line, and the other guys are about a second behind, and or second one. And the finish line, I was down at the finish line. I put my arm around Charles and said, "Hey, let's go out and meet Coach Carr. meet Coach Fuller." And so my relationship with him started then. He was in my recruiting area. And his mother, Georgia, what a great woman. She's a great woman. All her children. She had a daughter that was ran at Tennessee, was a great Tennessee track athlete. She had another played at Miami of Ohio, and she had Charles, and but she raised him right. She was tough on him, and so I got to know Charles. He told me, I can't remember his sophomore or his junior, probably his junior. He said, "Coach," he said, "everybody in the United States is recruiting me as a running back." He said, I want to play corner." I'm like, "Okay, we're recruiting you as a corner. Don't tell anybody else. Between you and I, you can play corner. We don't want you as a running back. We want you as a corner." He's like, "Okay, good." So everybody's recruiting him as a running back, and everybody thought I was fucking. I'm sorry.
No, you can curse.
No, you're good. We can curse. We're good.
Okay. Thought I was fucking nuts. But he wanted to be a corner, and obviously he was one of the greatest corners ever lived, or ever played the game, and so it was great. I'll tell you what was really great is Gary Moeller was the head coach at the time, and I recruited a kid about 3 years earlier by the name of Ty Law out of Aliquippa, PA.
Wow.
And after Ty Law's sophomore year, Coach Moore said, "Listen, I'll give anybody here $10,000 cash if they bring in another Ty Law." And the next year I brought in Charles Woodson. Unfortunately, Coach Moeller got fired, and I never got my $10,000 cash.
Oh man.
That's great.
So, but I mean, you guys are probably the first two to ever hear that story. But
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it would have been $10,000 cash. You know what I could have done back then? That was 1994. Who knows what that was worth back then?
Nice.
Yeah.
So with a guy like Justin Hunter in the NFL now, he tried to do play on both sides of the ball. If Charles Woodson, if he decided to do that, if he committed to it, Coach, do you think he could have been a two-way player?
No question. Charles Woodson would have been the best player on both sides of the ball in my mind. Now, when we did it with him, we did it more as a distraction, as a confusion. I don't know if you watched the game 1997. I think it was 1997. Charles went in at wide receiver. They got so fucked up. They fucked up the coverage. And Charles Woodson's free going right down the middle. No one covering him. And I saw Nick Saban on the sideline. He's just like, What the fuck?
Right.
But if back then we were to do that, I'm sure we would have practiced differently. We would have done different things. But he would have been the best player on both sides of the ball. There's no question in my mind, because he was such a great athlete. I mean, he could do it all. I mean, you could have put him back there at running back. And in today's football, you could use him as the run or not run and shoot, but the quarterback stuff that they do now, the read option stuff.
Right.
His abilities were different than everyone else. I mean, you're talking about a 6'2", 210-pound man.
Yeah.
Who could run and could hit and wasn't afraid to do it.
Right. Wasn't
Yeah.
afraid to tackle. Right.
And he was playing corner. He was playing wide receiver.
Returning kicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So the NFL Combine just passed, and you've evaluated numerous players over the years. When it comes to evaluating linebackers, what are the skills and techniques that separates a good linebacker from a great linebacker?
That's a great question. I think the biggest thing is the first thing that I would look at when I looked at a player before I watched any film is the length of his arms. If he was 31 or less, I was very skeptical because they can't. The way offensive linemen are allowed to play today, if you don't have the reach, you can't keep them off of you. And short arm guys, they can't play because you're just going to get held and they're never going to get off on a block and so on and so forth. Now, there are a few exceptions, but by and large, percentage-wise, you got a short arm linebacker and you're a linebacker coach, you're going to get fired because the guy's not going to play. He's not going to be effective. So they have to have some length to them. The other thing I looked at was what I call shock and shed. Did they have the ability to shock a blocker?
Pop
and great separation and get off and go. It's not natural because it's you got to hit somebody.
Right.
You got to be willing to hit somebody and you got to enjoy it. But you could see it on film. You could watch it on film. You could just they have the natural ability and wham, and you see the offensive lineman the half a second where he gets popped and shocked, and then all of a sudden the guy's gone. To me, those guys survive in the NFL longer than anyone else. The intelligence part of it, I relied on the combine a lot, especially the guys that we invited to our individual meetings. So all three teams that I was part of, the Jets, the Giants, and the Colts, we would have individual meetings with players, and the position coach was required to run the interview. Some guys ask them to get on the board, some guys ask them to talk and all that bullshit. But I would, for every player that I interviewed, I would put together a 25 play video. And I'd go through every game. I'd go through all 12, 13 games. And I would try to find clip where they were on the field and they were making adjustments and they were actually verbally sending out signals and changing shit. I would take plays where they had great plays, and I would take plays where they looked like shit. And I would intermix them, and I wanted to listen to them individually talk about each play. And when they got to the shit plays, it was very interesting because the great ones, they fucking knew the fucking play as soon as it came on. And they were pissed. And they were fucking pissed. And you could see the intensity of the moment where it ate at them. And then there were guys that fucking didn't remember the play, couldn't give a care less, and didn't say a fucking thing and let the film go. And to me, the great ones that I've coached, they were all pissed, and they all cared, and they all knew, and it stung them to their core to talk about those plays. And to me, I learned a lot about the guy, the what that guy had, what he possessed, what he didn't possess. It was shocking. Now, sometimes the owner, the GM, the head coach, and the other fucking people that are involved, they didn't fucking see that,
Right.
And be like, guys, he's telling you he's a turd. He's a turd.
He's telling you he doesn't care about football. It's not number one to him.
God, and we still drafted him the sixth pick of the draft. But that's why the Jets will never win.
Yeah. Were you pushing for Mayo in that draft? Was there another guy that you liked?
Who?
Were you pushing for Gerard Mayo in that draft? Was there another player that you liked? You remember?
At the Jets?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the year we drafted Vernon Golston?
Yeah.
Was Mayo in that draft?
Yeah, he went 5 picks later.
I think the pick before us, Howie Long's son got picked. Mm-hmm. I was all for Howie Long's son. I love that kid. And then after that, to be honest with you, Gerard, if I can go back and look at my
notes,
my sheets, but I think I had him in the second round.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, because he was short. If I remember, I'm not sure what his arm length was, but I'd have to go back and look at my sheets. But I didn't have him as a sixth pick.
Gotcha.
In the draft. I didn't have Vernon either as a sixth pick in the draft, but I can't remember the guy's name. He was the GM at the time. He's on a podcast. He's on.
Oh, is that Mr. T?
Huh?
Is it Mr. T? Right?
Tannenbaum, yeah.
Tannenbaum? Yeah.
Mike and I went to Columbus to work him out. Mm-hmm. Now, what you guys don't understand is his Vernon's head football coach played with me at Michigan. He played for the Dallas Cowboys. So Vernon commits to Ohio State. I'm at Michigan. I call my boy up. I said, "What the fuck?" He says, "You don't want that turd." I had to beg him to come out and leave the band. And I'm like, God damn. I'm like, okay, it was good. So I tell this to Mike T. And then we go to Columbus. Jim Trustle's sitting there and cheating little fucking bastard. With his V-neck fucking collar on. And I put Vernon run, he does all the running, and I mean, measurable wise, he's out of this world. I put him on the board. This guy drew a formation and it had 20 guys on the field. Like, Vernon, there's 22 guys. 22 players, Vernon. Couldn't do it. We get done with it. We get done with the interview. I walk out, and Mike Tannenbaum's like, "God damn, isn't that great?" But anyway,
yeah. So you had in that draft.
Now you know why the Jets will never win.
So Vernon went 6, but then you had Gerard Mayo go 10th. Then you had, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, number 16.
Aqib
Talib, number 20. Those were just the defensive guys that were pretty good at that draft. Mike Jenkins was.
And how many games did Vernon play in?
I think he played.
How many tackles did Vernon have in the NFL?
Yeah, it's on the low side.
Yeah,
you think?
So he had 42 solo tackles.
He lasted 2.5 years.
In his 2008, 2009, in his 3-year career.
So did he have more reps on the bench press than he did games played? Is that what it was?
Ah, gee.
Total workout warrior.
Yeah.
He had to find the weight room.
So we're here with former college linebackers coach, former professional NFL linebacker coach of Raiders T-Roll in the European League of Football, Jim Herman. And you've coached for the Jets. You've coached for the Giants. You mentioned you coached for the Colts as well. You won Super Bowl 46 with Tom Coughlin. So what's the biggest difference you noticed between the Jets and the Giants in terms of culture, attitude, and professionalism?
Oh, the Giants organization is, in my mind, and I've visited most of the places. I know guys that coach. The Giants organization is top notch. The Mara family, the Pitt family, specifically the Mara family. The Mara family works in the building every day. John Mara is there every day. Chris Mara is there every day. I mean, you go down for lunch, and if your position is not playing well, and you sit down for lunch, John Mara is going to sit right next to you and say, "Hey, look, what's going on? Like, tell me about your players." And John Mara knows, Chris Mara knows these guys know football. Whereas Woody Johnson came in the meeting room and he was like looking around. I was the only one there. He said, "Hey, Jim, are we going to blitz this week?" I was going, "What?" "Yeah, my friends told me on online that we need to blitz more."
Yeah.
I'll write that down.
Yeah. Noted. Noted.
But no, but the Mara family and the Giants organization is, in my mind, I'm sure, and I know this for a fact, the Maras and the Rooneys, the way they run their organization, Pittsburgh and New York Giants are the two. I mean, the Giants are probably the best organization in the league. I mean, they know football. They understand football. I think the new lady there in Detroit, I think she gets it because you saw what she did with Chris Spielman and bringing back the guys that made that organization what it was and made them a big part of it. And, those people have foresight and see, and they know football. Some of these owners, I mean, you know how it is. I mean, there's
right.
Play money. This is play money.
Yeah, it's right. It's
We
not that
are
serious to them.
Totally. So, since we're talking about the Giants, what do you think of the Harbaugh hire? How do you think he's going to fare in New York?
I think Johnny will be great. I've known John. John and I have known each other since we were 19 years old. His dad Jack was a DB coach at Michigan
Oh
when I
wow.
was a
Oh,
freshman,
Wow.
and John that summer, my freshman year, he came up and he was at Miami of Ohio, and he worked out with us for the off season. So I've known Johnny for a long time, and then Jimmy came in. Jimmy was a freshman my first year as a graduate assistant coach in 1983. So I've known the family for a long time. And John, like, to be honest with you, probably the best coach to hire as a head coach is the special teams coach. You know why? Because those guys have a pretty good overall grasp of the roster. Okay, I got my offensive starters, I got my defensive starters, I have these guys as backup, so on and so forth. And how does that help us on special teams? Those guys have a great grasp of what a roster needs to be like. And I think Johnny has done that his whole career as I've watched him. And it's like Mike Websoff. Like, to me, Mike Websoff should have been a head coach.
we've had Coach on the show.
Yeah, we had Coach on the show. He was awesome.
Did you? Yeah, Mike's a great dude.
He's amazing.
Like, to me, he is one of those guys that understood the roster and what the makeup of these six guys are and how that goes. And honestly, if I was an owner, if I was a billionaire, which I'm not, but if I was and I owned a team, I would go out and find the best special teams coordinator that had the grasp of the roster, and I hire him as my head coach. And then I would go out and find two great coordinators, offensively and defensively, and then let that special teams guy control the roster. In my mind, that's how it should be done.
Yeah.
But, public persona and all that bullshit, if the owner doesn't have any balls, he's not going to do it. So.
Right.
So you recently coached Raiders T-Roll in the European League of Football. So what has surprised you most about coaching players in Europe compared to the States, especially guys who have to balance football with careers like teaching or medicine?
Yeah, tough, really tough. The commitment that those kids had are amazing. I have my starting safety, Jan Mayhofer. He just spoke in Hawaii at a convention for physicists around the world.
Wow.
Yes. He was my starting safety. And but he loved football. He loved the commitment part of it, the toughness part of it, the push part of it. Even though he's got an amazing career ahead of him. My other starting safety was actually our orthopedic surgeon. So if someone got hurt, he was in there helping with the operation. He actually broke his thumb on his dominant hand, and he sat in there while the guy did the surgery on it and helped and and came back and played the rest of the year 3 weeks later. So there is a love for the game. There's a commitment to the game. Now it's hard because being who I am and the way I coach and the expectations, it was hard for some of the guys, because they couldn't watch as much film. They couldn't come in during the day. and that was hard to adjust to for me. But we got it done. You know, and we had 2 good seasons. You know, I think the biggest problem there in Tyrol, in Innsbruck, Austria, is you're looking at a city of about 180,000 people. And if you draw a circle of 2 hours outside of it, you really only have about 3 other football programs within that circle. Whereas if you go to Vienna, which was the other team, Vienna, Austria, you know, that's 2 million, 2.5 million people. And you draw that circle, and there's 12 to 15 other football programs at the lower level. And so it becomes a numbers game. The other thing is, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but like, you know, there are certain body types by country.
Right.
Like the Germans have all the offensive linemen.
Right.
There are no offensive linemen. I mean, we might have had 1 or 2, period. So it's like, okay, who's going to play offensive line?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True. So what body types did they have? Skill players?
We had an exorbitant amount of DBs and wide receivers.
A few kickers, maybe.
We were destined to play 4 wide receivers every down. But we had some good running backs. But you know, we had to bring in you're allowed 6 European players. You know, we used the majority of those 6: offensive line, defensive line, tight end. And you know, it is what it is. I mean, but you know, you go up against a big German team and you're sitting there going, oh shit.
It's gonna be a long day.
It's about 4th quarter, it's gonna start rolling downhill. But no, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna take this year off. And things family wise I got to take care of, and then maybe the next venture is Japan. I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Yeah. But beautiful country, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, very beautiful.
Interesting. So, I mean, how is the scene in Japan in terms of American football? Like, well, what's the
American football? Japan actually has outside of America, probably, or outside of America and Canada, Japan has the next best league. Really? It's called the X League. Yeah, it's called the X League. They're all corporate sponsored. You know, you're looking at Toyota, Mitsubishi. I mean, they're all corporate sponsors, so that's big money, and the best players are all there. And I was there many years ago. I coached over there through Michigan, and you know, there was actually a defensive back who I felt like could play in the NFL. There was a wide receiver who could have played mid-level college ball. So the talent's there. Now that was like 30. See, my youngest son's 33, so that was 34 years ago when we were there. So it's gotten better and better and better. I mean, those jobs are hard to get. It's very competitive. But it would be interesting to do again, you know.
Yeah, I didn't even know they had a league. How many games do they play? How many teams they play? You know?
Oh, they're a full 16 game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they have quite a bit of teams over there.
Something for us to take a little bit of a deeper dive on. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
yeah. So we'll get you out of here on this one, Coach. You've had a long career in football, and you're a bit of a bourbon aficionado, right? You're known to enjoy a good one after a win or maybe even a tough loss. So what's your go-to bourbon, and how do you take it?
Well, obviously neat. Maybe a drop of water, maybe a small cube, but wow. Well, my wife and I just went down and did the Bourbon Trail. My entire family's from Louisville.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. But we finally did the Bourbon Trail. And to be quite honest with you, the Woodford Oak Barrel is really dip. I would say the Four Roses, the special blend, the Master's blend is a good sip. And then if you're just, you don't want to be on the high money side of it. I would love a Makers on the Rocks. Actually a double Makers on the Rocks. And I could sit and. Matter of fact, when I'm done with this, that's probably what I'm going to go do on the porch and have a cigar. So
Solid. If you're ever in New York, look us up. We'll toss them back with you.
yeah, I know Damien will.
I have.
We'll go down. We'll go down and drink all Ray's.
Yeah, we'll drink Rays, but we closed down the candlelight one night. That was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, former Michigan Wolverine linebacker coach, former New York Jets, New York Giants, Indianapolis Colts linebacker coach, former Raiders Tyrol head coach of the European League of Football, Jim Herman. Thank you for coming on, Coach. And if you want to be the newest member of the In Crowd, hit us up, faderoutemail@gmail.com, slide in our DMs on IG at Fade Route Podcast, or drop us a line on X at Fade Route DNZ and let us know. And you may be the very next guest on the In Round. Coach, thank you for joining us, and hopefully we will see you soon for a couple of cold ones.
Anytime you need me, just give me a buzz.
Thanks again, Coach.
All right, man.
Take
I'll
care.
see you guys later.
Yeah.
On to my Maker's Mark.
There you go.
Go for it.